Hello, my name is Henry Emfrey, and this is a Godot game development tutorial. In this tutorial, I'm gonna show you how to do spawning. For example, if the character runs into some kind of button, that button will cause something else to appear on screen. So essentially, it'll be an item causing another item to appear. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do that. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to create a room. So we're going to call it, what's the room? Okay, that's the room. Then we're going to add a camera to this room. See, camera 2D, that's what we want. And then we're going to turn this camera on. And then we're going to make it so when we launch our game, we'll get this room. So let's save the scene, save as room.tsn, that's what we want. So we're going to go to project setting. Go to run, and make sure this box has room.tscn in it. If it doesn't, you can click on this folder, click on room.tscn, and click open. And room will be our main scene, and it will be what we get once we start our game. Next, we're going to create our character. We're going to click this plus here. 2D. We're going to change this into kinematic body. So we want kinematic body 2D. That's what we want. Okay, we're going to rename it Henry. Then click on it again. We're going to add a sprite. And I'm going to load up a character that I made before this tutorial. This is the character that I'm going to use as my main character. And this is just a folder where I store all my game objects in. It's this folder right here that I got on my flash drive. Or you might have yours on your desktop, wherever you have it. So this is what I'm using to put all my game objects in. Okay, so then I'm click open. And then I'm going to add a collision shape. Collision shape 2D. Okay, got that? I'm going to make that a rectangle. And then I'm going to zoom in. And I'm just going to use these little boxes here to make the collision shape fit my character. For our purposes, that's good enough. Last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click on Henry, and I'm just going to attach a script to it. And I'm not going to do anything with the script. I'm just going to attach a script to it. Okay, so new script, Henry GD. That's good enough. Okay, so now we got that. So we're going to leave it like it is, and then we're just going to save it. Save as henry.tsn. That's what we want. Okay, so then we're going to create the button or the spawner. So we're just going to click the plus, 2D. I'm going to change this to area 2D. That's what our code is going to work with. I mean, it could work with Node 2D, but the way I got the code written out, we got it for an area 2D. So, okay, so we got that, and we're just going to call this spawner. Got that. We're going to add a sprite. Find a picture or icon. This is what I'm going to use for my spawner. You can use whatever kind of thing you want to use. Oh, wow, this spawner is very big. So I'm just going to resize it a little bit. I'm going to keep it a little big so you can see what we're doing. Okay, so then I'm going to add a collision shape to that. So plus collision shape 2D. That's what we want. Okay, we got our collision shape 2D. Okay, so I'm going to make that a rectangle. And then I'm just going to make this rectangle fit our button or spawner. And like I said, that's awfully big, but anyway. Okay, so we got that. And then we're just going to attach a script to that too. Once again, I'm not going to do anything with the script. I'm just going to add a script to it. Okay, spawner GD, that's good. All right, we got that. So now we'll go back to 2D mode, And we're just gonna save this. Save the spawner. Save as spawner TSDN. That's good enough. Okay, and last thing we're gonna do is create an object so that when Henry collides with the spawner, something will appear in the game on the left side. Okay, so and that would be just a sign. So we're gonna create the sign that's gonna appear after Henry steps on that spawner. So 2D, we're gonna make that an area 2D2. Area 2D. Okay. Right. We just call this sign. We get a sprite. Okay. We don't need a collision shape because we're not gonna be interacting with the sign. That's just gonna be the result of what we're trying to accomplish. But you can put a collision shape on there if you want to. This is up to you. And then, okay, so we're gonna load our sign. This will be our sign. And then we're going to attach script to that too. New script, sign G, good. Okay, all right, so we got what we want. Let's go back to 2D mode. Okay, so now we're gonna say the sign. Assign TSCN, that's good enough. Okay, so now we got all the items that we're gonna use in our game. Okay, so now we're gonna add scripts to each of these items here. Add scripts to Henry. We're gonna add script to spawner, and we're gonna add a script to sign. Okay, so let's click on Henry, and we're just gonna click on this button to get into our script panel. I'm just gonna delete all this stuff, and I'm gonna paste in this code here to save some time. Okay, now on the web and on YouTube, there's already millions of things on how to move a character around on screen. And I too have done millions of tutorials on how to move characters around screen. So I'm not going to emphasize on that too much. I'm just going to go over just the basics, but I'm not going to go too in depth. So as for this part, this is just a part that I learned to put from the Godot website. And then next we initialize in our speed and motion. We set the motion to the 2D vector. And okay, and then down here is, it says when you press the right button or left button, up button or down button, the character will move in these corresponding directions, which will be 20 pixels according to whichever button you've pressed. So if you press the right button, the character will move 20 pixels to the right, etc. And these, when you see these UI right, UI left, UI up, UI down, etc., those are just pre-configured controls that comes out of the box when you download Godot. You can just use these prefigured controls and like they are right here. And remember, X means right and left, and Y means up and down. And finally, we just finalize setting up our movement controls. We set our stuff up here to this function right here, just so that our character can actually move. Like I said, don't worry about the comments. Comments are written in gray. We're just worried about this colored stuff here. Okay, so now that we got the movement for our character, we're going to go back to 2D mode, and now we're going to go to the sign. What we're going to do, we're going to make it so that the sign starts off invisible when we launch our game. So we're just going to click on this code here, and I'm just going to delete these comments, and I'm just going to add this bit of code right here. The ready function means when the game starts up, the stuff below this function is going to happen. So when the game starts up, this sign is going to be invisible, because after all, we're working with the script that's attached to the sign. Remember? See, the script is attached to the sign. See? So when the game launches, the sign here will be invisible. Okay, so now that we got that, I'm going to click Control S to save the sign section. Because eventually when we load we're going to load all this stuff into the room here, to this room. and we want all this to be included. So that's why I saved this stuff. Okay, so now we're going to load all these things into the room for our next essential step. So we're going to go to room, add in Henry, and then we're going to go to room again, add in spawner, then click on room again. We're going to add in the sign. Like I said, once again, the sign is going to be invisible once we launch our game. The signs won't be here. Okay, so, and then we're just going to, I'm just going to move these things around. I put my area node above Henry so that Henry will be on top. Okay, so, and then I'm just going to move these things out the way so that we can see them a little better. So I'm just going to move the spawner over here, and I'm just going to move this sign down here. So the next thing that we got to do, we had to add all these things into the room in order to add the collision function for when we collide with our sign. Before doing that, we had to add in all the items first before we add in our collision code. Okay, so now we're going to add in our collision code so that when Henry runs into this spawner or this button here, the sign will appear. Okay, so let's do that. We're going to make sure we got spawner clicked, and then we're going to go to node, body entered. Body entered is going to be Henry. And you're going to see that in the code later on. So, and then we'll click connect. And then we're going to connect that to the spawner. That is, we're going to put this function, we're going to put that collision function inside of the spawner script. This is the spawner script we're dealing with. See, we're in our spawner script now. See, spawner is selected, and we are in our spawner script. This is our collision code right here. Okay, so we got that. So let's go back to 2D mode. And next we're going to add some collision code from the spawner inside of our sign script too. So that when Henry runs into this spawner, it'll affect the sign too. We need the same kind of collision code inside the sign too. Make sure spawner is clicked again. Make sure node is selected. Click enter, body enter, connect. And this time I'm going to put it in the sign script. So make sure you click on sign, connect. Okay, so now we're in our sign script. See? Sign script. See? Remember when we put this visible, made the sign invisible? So that's another indicator that we're inside of the sign script, the sign that we made. We're in its script now. Okay, so we got both for our collision function. We got collision function for the sign, and we got a collision function for the spawner too. Both items. So the next thing I'm going to do is go back to the spawner and make sure we got extends area 2D. We need that. Otherwise, our game won't work correctly if we don't have that up here. So I'm just going to paste in this code for the spawner. And this just says whenever Henry collides with the spawner is going to disappear. Okay, so we're done with our spawner code. Now we're going to go to our sign code. So we're going to go to our sign script. The script dealing with the sign that we made. Okay, so let's go to that script now. For that, I'm going to paste in this code. And this just says that whenever Henry collides with the spawner, the sign that we made, this sign here, will appear, will be visible instead of invisible like we have up here. It's going to then become visible. And it's going to appear to the left. X means right and left. And it's going to appear 300 pixels in a negative direction, which is the right side in computer programming. Okay, so let's see what happens when we launch our game. Henry moves good. Okay. And bam! The sign appears when Henry runs into this button, like we have it coded. And so that's what we wanted. That's not just good, that's good. Let's go back to the spawner script. Spawner here. Some people might not want the spawner or button to disappear whenever Henry collides with it. For example, in somebody's game, you might have just a lever or a button, and in reality, buttons don't disappear, or neither do levers. So some people might not want the button or spawner to disappear whenever Henry collides with it, but still wants the sign to appear when Henry collides with it, or the character collides with it. So in order to get that kind of effect, we just delete this function. And now let's see what happens when our game is launched. Okay, so Henry runs into the spawner, and bam! Our sign is still here, and the button is still here too. Okay, so that's all I wanted to show you. You can take what I just showed you in this tutorial and expand on it. And I hope this helps. Till next time. Thanks. Bye.